Good afternoon. This is Tanisha LaVerne Grant with BlackInAmerica.com. I am super excited to bring it to the platform. First of all, you guys, it's taken me about a month to get this woman on the show. But she's worth the wait, okay? Because in my opinion, she is from Hollywood royalty, okay? Serious bloodline in Hollywood. And I'm going to start with her father, Greg Morris, who my grandmother had a crush on, her brother, Phil Morris, who I had a crush on as Jackie Childs on Seinfeld, that we all were just like obsessed with his character. Miss Iona Morris Jackson, who is nominated this year for the 54th NAACP IMAGE Awards for Outstanding Director in a comedy series on Kenya Barris's Blackish. Miss Iona Morris Jackson, welcome to the platform.
Hello.
How are you today?
Oh, Tanisha, you have just blessed my morning. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And the families from Ohio, Arsenio Hall, Halle Berry, Dave Chappelle. Let's talk about it all.
Vanessa Bell Calloway, James Pickens.
That's right. So, we don't have a lot of time because I really wanted this to be kind of like a half-hour interview because there's so many questions that I have to ask, but I'm going to try and keep it to 15 minutes. So I just want to start with, what was life like, for you growing up in Ohio with this amazing family that was in the arts?
Well, I'll tell you, we actually didn't grow up in Ohio.
Oh, wow.
I was born there, and my father was from Cleveland. He grew up there. But my father moved to Seattle after my brother was born. My sister hadn't been born yet. And the family stayed back east, and then out Midwest. And then he brought us out here to Los Angeles when I was about 4.5 years old.
Wow.
And that's when we were here. No family, just us.
That's amazing. I was watching old clips and I'm like, this is a nice looking family too. Like, no wonder why y'all were successful in Hollywood. Generation after generation after generation. When you were a young woman coming of age, did you feel any pressure because your father was in the business and then, your brother was in the business?
Yes, honey. My father, because you never knew, do they want to be friends with me or my daddy? Because now you see Black celebrities, writers, doctors, lawyers, actors. You see that there's wealth and there's experience. But when I was coming up, we were the only ones at the party. The only one anybody knew who had a parent of any stature in that arena. And so there was a lot of pressure. I went to Catalina Islands Girls Camp one time, and I wrote my parents, nobody knows who daddy is here, and they all like me. And, in retrospect, sure, that was probably good for me, but a little bit of my father's heart hurt because he worked so hard. But, so it wasn't easy. But my brother and I got in the business at the same time. We took different trajectories.
Okay.
Which has been really great. And he's been so fabulously successful. I'm so proud of him.
Like I said, me and my classmates, I graduated from the oldest HBCU, Cheyney University of Pennsylvania, founded in 1837. Delayed Emmy Award nominated or Emmy Award winning journalist Ed Bradley also attended Cheyney University. And we used to wait for Jackie Childs to come on the screen. We're like, we don't know what episode. We don't have a program. We don't know when he's going to be on. And the episodes we would tune in and he wouldn't be on, man, we would be so upset. He was so perfect in that role. And the fact that, it was in honor of Johnny Cochran, who we all, loved, admired, and adored, was just amazing. So women are directing, Black women are directing.
Yes, we are.
Black women are directing, because of your nomination this year with the NAACP IMAGE Award for Outstanding Director in a Comedy Series. There's a lot of conversation about, some of the Oscar snubs this year, including Gina Prince Bythewood, the Woman King, did not get in for the Academy Award. Like, what are your thoughts about that?
It's truly a snub. I feel that as Black people, when or African Americans, whichever you choose, we speak in many different languages. We speak hip and cool and slang to each other. We speak the King's English when we're at work. And we have to watch how white America works and how they move. And we've got to know them. They don't need to do that with us. They're really starting to really engage and want to engage, but they still don't understand our just living language, which is not much different than theirs. I read an article Gina wrote, and she said some people showed up and said after the film and said, "Oh my God, that was so great," who were voters, white voters, but they said, I had to come here kicking and screaming because I really didn't want to come. And she said, I didn't know really how to take that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and that's the problem. They have to know how to our humor. They want us to know their humor. What about knowing our humor? But from the initiation, from the first moment, they're just slightly afraid or a little off when they get with us before we even begin. And I thought Woman King, Gina did a fabulous that film. Oh my God, it was done so well. It was top notch.
It gives just you explaining, your response to it is just giving me goosebumps because I saw it. I went to a private press screening for here in LA at the Grove, and there wasn't a dry eye in the theater.
Not at all.
I mean, from the cinematography to hairstyling and makeup, not a beat was missed.
The set design, the whole production design was beautiful. The young lady whose name I'm not going to call because I'm going to pronounce it incorrectly, who played Viola's character's daughter.
Oh yeah.
I knew for sure she would be nominated for Best Supporting Actress because that young lady was fantastic.
She was. She
wasn't a fantastic Black actress. It wasn't a fantastic Black film. It wasn't directed by a fantastic Black director. It was directed by a great director that was a terrific actress, and it was a great film. And so, yes, I was disappointed.
I'm sitting here shaking my head. And also with, Danielle Deadwyler, who played Mamie Till.
Yeah, she should have been nominated too. I was going to get to her as well. Yeah.
That was another one. As someone who has had, you've had such an amazing career, Law and Order, Cold Case. We're talking about this nomination for Blackish.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of your thoughts and ideas just about the progress we are making? I mean, is the progress slow? Is it slow and steady? What is it in your opinion, just to the state of African Americans in Hollywood?
I think we've made fantastic progress.
Okay.
I think we have done great things. Does that mean that there still isn't a long way to go? No. Is there still work to be done? Yes, absolutely. But Hollywood has had to open itself up because we own we have a whole lot of money in our community.
Mm-hmm.
We like to entertain, and they don't want to lose us. And also, there are many younger ones who are coming around who see the value of our culture because they're into our culture. And so I think it's great. I can look at more women directors, more Black women directors, Black male directors, more Black male writers. There's more of everything than when I was a child, definitely than my father and even before him. We're not satisfied because there still isn't just parity. We're looking for just us. We want to be at the table all the time. And we should be because we're part of this world. And they can't live without us, baby.
Ooh.
I saw there's this really cool show called Shooter. It's a streaming show. And there's this one episode where one of the stars walks into a white supremacist clubhouse, and they are playing rap music.
Oh, wow.
And that was deliberate to show, and that is what white America's doing.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, there's always this great big conversation about, you know, Black people creating our own spaces, you know, having our own, you know, sound stages like Tyler Perry, not seeking or feeling compelled to seek, you know, that white validation. What are your thoughts about that? I'm thinking back to the beautiful Shirley Ralph winning her Emmy, you know, bursting into song, which was absolutely beautiful. But there were a lot of critics that were just like, you know, why does it have to be all of that? Why is it that, you know, there has to be, you know, song and dance and this great big, you know, burst of tears and excitement, you know, when white Hollywood finally accepts us, when we've been here all along? Like, why does it always have to take that, you know, to show how grateful we are? Like, why does it always have to be about, you know, this humility and this gratitude? Like, oh my God, like white Hollywood, you finally see me and now I'm of value. What are your thoughts about that?
There are a whole bunch of people before Shirley Ralph who died so that you and I can be here right now.
I'm shaking my head. You can't see me. I'm shaking my head up and down. Yes.
That's what Shirley was singing about. She's not saying, I'm glad you can see me. She said, I'm finally glad you can see all of us. And her song was about, so yes, thank you. And let's get busy on another tip that we are at the table. Yeah. That's what the speech was about as well. And I think as Black people, we have to stop criticizing ourselves so much. And be on our side. Like the doggone Republicans will always be on each other's side, right or wrong. We need to be on each other's side and stop with that. Because we are excited that finally you see me, you see us. Good. But not surely, like none of us are going to say, thank you very much, bye. It's like, I'm here now. I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the whole point. Now, I totally agree on the first part of that. We need to start looking for validation from the thems and start opening up our own studios and supporting each other, which I see happening so much. There's so many fabulous young Black producers and directors out there, and they're doing and exec producing, and it's fantastic. But let's be real. White people really do run Hollywood. And we have to work together. And when they do see us, that is a good thing because they're opening and we can get in there and open up some minds and some education of how to see and communicate with us. Yeah. So it's two-sided. We don't need to look at them anymore for validation, but they do run Hollywood. Yeah. So let's do our own thing and support each other as the lot are doing and continue to keep pushing through that door.
That's what Kenya Barris was saying a couple days ago. I attended a panel.
Oh, yes, I didn't make it.
Yeah, it oh my God, Kenya Barris, Roland Martin. It was fantastic. It was Jalen Rose. Wow, they had so much to say. It was a packed house. And one thing that Kenya Barris kept trying to drive was collective work and responsibility. You know, we're not pooling our resources. We just refuse to pool our resources. You know, he was speaking to the point of Black athletes and, you know, how much money they make. And if you got 4 athletes, you know, who are making 200 and something plus, you know, million, pool that money.
That's right. I am so with it. There are 2 things I feel about with the athletes. They should all take a percentage of their money and put it back into the community, not to give people money, but education. LeBron James has laid out a great plan in the way that he does things. And if we take all of the studios around this country, who are the big studios, and have them put in a percentage of their monies to the theaters, how many more actors and other artisans can we develop? And which we're not doing that right now. There might be a nice stipend over here or over there, but it should be something that you have to give back, so that theater can afford the directors, the costumers, the lighting designers, and blah 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 blah, and pay the actors at least gas money. That's what it was like when I was growing up. Now everybody wants a living wage. I'm like, baby, Your experience was your living wage.
Yeah. Well, you can forget about that. You can forget about that. I mean, it's hard right now, and I'm looking for my director of photography, videographer will be on holiday next week when I'm set to cover American Black Film Festival honors. And, I'm looking for, videographers, and they're like, oh, well, we want this much money. I'm like, but you don't have anything on your resume.
Exactly. Exactly. We forget about that. Experience is everything. Then I'll quickly tell you a story about me, how I got my directing job on Blackish.
I was going to get to that. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Because this is a great segue into that. I was the dialogue coach for 8 years.
Wow.
I have a vast voiceover and acting career, as you know, and I was directing a lot of theater. I have a specialty with one-person shows. And then I started directing musicals, and I directed this 6-character piece, and it was a comedy, and it was a hit. And once I looked at it, I went, I just directed a sitcom. I said, I want to go to television. And I couldn't figure out how to make it happen. And I was with a late, wonderful friend of mine, Denise Dowse.
Oh, Denise, may she rest in peace. Oh my goodness.
Denise.
Oh, we miss her.
Miss her greatly, greatly. Denise told me that there was a job offered to her as a dialogue coach on Blackish, and she knew that's not something I want to do. I'm directing, I'm acting, I'm doing stuff. But I told her, no. I want that. Recommend me, because I knew it would get me back on the lot and behind the camera, and I could get paid to shadow a different director every day. And Blackish was just starting. I interviewed. I'd actually worked with 2 of the producers before. They hired me, and I was there from the beginning. And I told them, this is why I'm here. After 6 years, I wrote, direct, and exec produced my short, which was in 13 festivals. I showed it to them. They said it looked good. I did good work. And then the 8th season came. And one day I got my courage together, and I sent an email, and I said, hey guys, don't forget about me. This is our last season. It's going to make me cry. And I really want to direct. That's when they offered me this episode. And
wow.
If you don't take, now, let me tell you, there were times when I got in my car and I cried because of what I knew I was going through, that I, as a director in theater and this actress and voiceover talent, did not have to go through. I'd have to just suck up in that moment that it wasn't about me. It wasn't about who I was out there in the world. This was something I was doing so I could grow in the craft that I wanted to do. And it took 8 years. And those were the best 8 years of my life, because I learned, I grew, and I got my opportunity. And look what has happened from my opportunity.
I love it, because 8 is the number of new beginnings. 8 is the number of new beginnings. What a fantastic story. I love stories that speak to just being diligent.
Yes.
And being patient, right? Because we're so impatient in this cookie cutter environment of social media, fame fast, fame at all costs, doesn't matter if you're compromising your health and integrity, fame. And sometimes it's too much too soon, or it just isn't your time. And what is so amazing about your story, which is, why I wanted to interview you, and I was going back and forth with Theo and your team, is, to be a woman of a, quote, certain age, right? To be a woman of a certain age, it's really important for your story to be told.
Yes, because there are a lot of women who aren't 30 and 40 anymore and above who think, right, I'm done. Baby, you aren't done until the dirt is on you, or until the flames consume your body, until you are called home, or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
Not done. I got married after 50.
What?
Girl, yes, I did. To the man I met 10 years earlier before we started dating, and who I just loved.
Wow, that's an amazing story.
Yeah, so
you met him 10 years prior.
10 years prior, and then we started dating 10 years later. He doesn't even remember when he met me. And and we and that's okay because he's a well-known musician who was just doing his thing. My husband's a percussionist, Minyango Jackson. He's one of the best in the
Oh,
world.
wow. Wow.
And we got married, and I won't tell you how many years later, and then look with Blackish. And so it's never too late to switch gears, to go for what you've really always wanted. I've always been a lawyer all my life, but I want to play the guitar and sing. It's never too late.
Wow.
Never.
Wow. You know, Iona, could you speak to the power of taking time for self-care and taking time to decompress, taking time to kind of step away from the rat race, you know, and take time to honor a new version of yourself, right? Because we're ever changing. We're
Yes.
ever changing. And sometimes I kind of feel like in this culture, we're not taking time to honor like the new version of ourselves and get to know the new version of ourselves. Like, for example, I recently lost my father a couple years ago to COVID. He died January 21st, 2021.
Sorry.
Thank you. And me and my sister, his only children, we are textbook diehard daddy's girl. So this loss will be a loss like no other. And what I had to realize was like, okay, this passing of my father, his transition, you know, to the spiritual realm, has changed me. It's changed me forever. I am no longer the same. And I was trying so hard to operate in the old me, and it just wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't working. And I finally had to say, all right, I have to sit with this new person,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and honor everything that God wants me to be and needs me to be in the physical absence of my father.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, you know, you speak about, you know, acting, being a dialect coach, directing, you know, getting married, quote unquote, later in life, whatever that is, right? Because we put this value on numbers, you know. So can you speak to just the power of the reset and the power of really taking time to get to know who you are?
Yeah. We change, they say, every 7 years. That's partly where the 7-year itch comes from, but spiritually and with our bodies, we change every 7 years. And you know, I for myself, I'm a Buddhist, and so I chant daily,
Oh,
and
wow.
I can miss a day or two. Let me be real about that, but I do that because it centers my soul, and I can always stay connected to myself. I'll take vacations with my girlfriends on a whim because that allows us to get to know each other. I'm sorry. That allows me to take time with my girlfriends to just be me, and also take alone time. I'll always do that to just check in with where I'm at. I got very sick many years ago, many years ago, and I still don't know really what was wrong with me, but I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't work. It was weeks. And I was so scared. And one day I just lay there and I thought about, I want to paint my room a different color. And I didn't know what color. And it took me to, what else don't I not know about me? Because I'm so busy doing.
Mm.
I started my journaling again, so I could read my thoughts, so I could feel where I was at. I exercise, I eat right, stay healthy, and just take time every once in a while to literally just sit and be quiet, even if it's exercising my right thumb on the remote for the television.
Oh, wow.
It's a
Oh,
moment, just
wow.
time to connect, because if I'm not right, nothing in my life is going to be right.
Iona, what is your, I'm so sorry to cut you off. Like, what is your diet? Because you're an absolute beauty. You have that timeless beauty like Miss Halle Berry, you know, who also made her directorial debut this year or last year with Bruised. That did really well. You know, so like, what's your diet like? I'm just curious because you, Angela Bassett, I'm like, look at these women. Look at y'all.
So I'm telling you, I love food, but I make sure that I don't overeat too many times. And there's a method that a girlfriend of mine taught me where take a fork, put it in your mouth, chew your food, chew it till it's all done, and put the fork down and just sit back.
Yeah.
Then take another bite, chew it, swallow it, and sit back. And after a while, you'll find, wow, I didn't need that much food to feel full.
To get full. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
my mom would do that.
Yeah. And then also I cleanse twice a year. There's a gentleman named Dr. Keith Richardson who has created they're called New Body, and he's created his own herbs and a cleanse plan. And I do that twice a year. And that allows parasites to be eliminated. It allows my organs to be set right. I've reset my thyroid from doing that.
Oh, wow.
I've feeling healthier with more energy from doing that. My eyes clearer. And it's a good thing to cleanse. We're only fasting for a week, but the way I'm eating after that, adding food and herbs, really helps to eliminate things from the body and calms me down. And it's interesting, Tanisha, when I start eating meat after that, I feel this voracious thing come up with myself. I'm like, oh my God. And I've had other people say, when you eat meat, the blood of the animals in that meat has gone through the psychic fear of being murdered for our pleasure.
Oh, wow. Wow. See, this is why, man, you have to, I tell young journalists all the time, interview the icons, interview the legends, interview those men and women who have paved the way for us. I love seeing young talent. I love seeing my peers, and my peers would be people like, Gabrielle Union, Taraji P. Henson, women from the ages of like 45 to 55. I'll be 50 this year. So I'm just like, okay, and I see these changes that are happening to me. I feel these changes, and I'm like, okay, I got to sit still and figure out what this is. This is. I'm going to wrap this up. Speaking with you was a joy. I want to circle back. I know Theo is going to be like, oh my God, T again. I want to see if I can get you.
It's Tanisha, isn't it right? Did I pronounce it right?
Tanisha. I didn't correct you. I was like, I'll correct her later on. But it's Tanisha. It's okay. It was too many gems being dropped. I'm like, she's on a roll. She's on a roll. But I want to see if I can get you for Black Women's History Month. We're trying to put together a panel.
I would love that.
You would be really, really great for it. So I'm just like, hopefully we can get, the sponsors and all that stuff going before we send a pitch. But this has been an amazing interview. I'm so super excited about your story, your journey, this nomination, for Outstanding Director in a Comedy Series for Blackish, directed by, our fearless leader, Kenya Barris, who we love. Yes. Who we absolutely love. If there is one thing, let's just wrap this up by saying, if there is one thing you would like to say to Kenya today, what would that be?
Thank you.
And it doesn't get any better than that. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Iona Morris Jackson, 54th NAACP IMAGE Award nominee for Outstanding Director in a Comedy Series for Blackish. This is Tanisha LaVerne Grant for blackinamerica.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great day. Bye-bye now.
Blessings.
Thank you. That was so good.
Fabulous. Well, you're going to be there tonight, right?
Yeah, well, I'm trying, this rain. So here's the thing. I fell back in May.
Oh.
I have 5 screws and a titanium plate in my foot. So I get I get nervous about the rain. And being on the carpet. I don't know if this event is inside or outside.
Is someone driving? Oh, let me see. You know what? I can't remember, but if it's going to be outside, they're going to have a tarp.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I hope it's inside. But I mean, it said something like an event. Let me look at the thing. I can't make out. I'm like, wow. Other events I've done over at LA Live. This is the dinner for tonight, right? That starts.
Right. Is it at the event space? Because if it's at the event space, I was there last night. It's totally tarped.
Yeah, the event deck at LA Live at Chick Hearn.
Well, there's one part that's not tarped from the elevator to the to the tent. It's not very far, but hopefully they will have tented that. If they haven't, have an umbrella, walk slowly, and be on someone's arm.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody's running into the same problem, but just park, get dropped off, don't drive.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do.
Just make sure to be on someone's arm and take your time, beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I have to meet you. We have to meet each other.
I know. This was so good. This was so good. Okay, let me figure out the logistics. Let me call my team because we're all sitting in here. We got masks under our eyes.
Girl, listen, I got to go do that right now myself. So you have a good one, and I'll see you later. Bye.
All righty.